Hey guys, it's your girl Victoria back to you with another review of Married at First Sight, Season 14, Episode 15, called Past Lives, Open Minds. And in this case, I feel like people still don't have open minds of all these casts for the last eight people up on the show. Okay, so like we always do, gonna get right into it. The couples are still on their way home from Boston. We thought they would get home by now since it's been a week since the last episode, but they're still driving home. Okay, we start off with Jasmine and Michael. They're still talking about their medium experience and how they went, what they thought about it with the fake medium. We move on to Katina Elijah one. They already got home, thank goodness, and they're getting ready for bed. Katina calling Elijah one her future baby daddy, and all right. Oh, that's your man, girl. All right. Elijah wants talking about he still don't know what the future holds, and it's going to be with him and Katina, her going to school and working. And that's just something y'all gonna have to figure out at this point, because we know through y'all clips, y'all gonna stay together because of your new tattoo that everybody talking about. We're going to move on to Jasmine and Michael again. So now this is the episode, of course, traditional for Married at First Sight, where the couples, like each person brings their significant other, their spouse, to their old childhood home or neighborhood or whatever the case may be. And also the episode where they write letters to their younger selves. All right. So we start off with Jasmina. She's bringing Michael to her childhood home and her high school, and it's explaining how I already forgot the teacher's name. Okay, I forgot, but she had a teacher there that really inspired her to be a teacher herself, so she could be a safe space for kids, just like the teacher was a safe space for her. So she finally opens up about her past. I'm like, well, it took you about 15 episodes, Jasmina, that the producers wanted to show us. I mean, you could have already told them about your past since day one, but I can only go based off what the producers show. So, episode 15 finally took for the producers to show you actually talking about your past. Okay, so she reads her letter to herself. She cries, of course. I wish in this moment Michael would have, been more comforting. Obviously it seemed like he was about to shed tears too. He was getting a little emotional himself. But in that moment she was crying, I wish she would have, rubbed her back, kind of gave her a hug or something to that effect. Like, both y'all don't know how to show emotion, really, I feel like. I mean, she be talking about she don't got feelings for the guy, and he be talking about he not trying to force her into feelings, but at the same time, like, can we show compassion for each other? Like, you guys are married, for goodness sakes, at this point. For almost 2 months. Okay, can we show some type of, you guys are friends, right? Becoming best friends. Can we show some type of emotional support other than like showing Michael? She be rubbing herself up on you sometimes, from what I be seeing in the clips. You could do a little something too. Okay, that's all I'm saying. But they did hug at the end after she did read the letter, and that's all I put for them. That's it. We're gonna move on to Lindsay. She upset. Oh, what's new? What's new? This is every episode, okay? This I only put 2 sentences for this. She upset because the night previously, Mark told her that she be doing too much. What she do? He said that when they had a meeting with Pastor Cal after the honeymoon in San Juan, Puerto Rico. So, okay, you too much. I think she even said that before they got married when she was introducing herself. And so, why are you upset that he told you that? That's not the first time he told you. That's not the first time you've heard it, I'm sure. So what are we upset about? Lindsay, you upset about every damn thing. Anything he says that triggers you, like you get upset and you want to talk about it the next day, be upset for 4 or 5 days, and then all he has to do is give you words of affirmation, and then you fight again. You guys make up. This ain't nothing new. It's up and down, up and down. Look, Lindsay, at this point, you just need to go to therapy. You need to be single. Take 365 days to yourself, and just do a lot of healing, because that's you need plenty of healing at this point. Yeah. You don't need to be married. You need to be single. Cause these confessionals is like, I can't feel sorry for you, Lindsay, because you just be doing the most. He be saying it nicely. I don't think I could say it nicely at this point. I can't, because you do this every episode. But we're gonna move on from her. I talked about her too much already, even though it was probably only like 2 minutes. Moving on to Elijah Wan. So he shows Katina where he used to live, because he used to live in the projects. He wants to make that known to us, and that him and Katina lived completely different lives because she lived in the suburbs and whatnot. So he wants to let us know, like, he's accomplished so much growing up from the projects, and that's why he's the way he is because of where he grew up from, and that's why he wanted to get his life on a straight and narrow. Which is like, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. That's good. I commend you for doing that, Elijah. But at the same time, like, I mean, do you want a cookie for that? Listen, no matter where you grew up, projects, suburbs, you lived a rich ass life, no matter where you grew up, people turn out differently every single time. Listen, you could have all these people in one household, raised in one household, and come out differently. I have 3 older brothers. We all came from the same household, all had the same parents, grew up in the same house. Each 4 of us, we're different people. We're different personalities. Our lives took a different path. It doesn't matter where you come from. It matters what you do with how you were raised. Because someone can be successful. Some others could just be a bum. Whether you're from the projects, the suburbs, and like I said, no matter where you're from. So while I commend you for doing something with your life, Elijah One, you being from the projects, I mean, it is what it is. That's where you were born and raised. I'm sorry. Reality, I don't know, but it's not big. All right. Anywho, listen, this is episode 15. I'm just kind of like, when's decision day? Okay, with the previews for next week, I'm just thinking like, okay, there's gonna be one more episode of them getting ready for decision day, and then it's gonna be the episode for decision day, and then it's gonna be the episode for the reunion. I'm hoping. So we move on to Dr. Pepper. Now, also on this episode, Dr. Pepper is visiting all the couples to sit down and talk with them, I guess maybe one last time before decision day, before she sees them next at decision day. So she visits Mark and Lindsay first. Of course, they talk about their relationship, their marriage, their issues. And, we have a moment where Mark is just saying, he tells Lindsay to stop because she could be too much. And Lindsay was like, but he says it in a playful way, though. Mark says, no, he don't. Producer's gonna show us a clip of a flashback of, he was saying it very playful, like, stop, man, stop. And she's just like eating it up, laughing and stuff too. But at the same time, producers, there were moments where like she would just grab his arm and he would be like, stop, can you not do that? So, yes, while he doesn't sometimes say it in a playful way, but sometimes he does say it in a playful way. So if Lindsay's confused with that, I mean, I can understand. But at the same time, Lindsay, you do be doing too much. You do be hyper. Dr. Pepper want to have Lindsay back and says, well, that's not a compliment for saying someone's hyper. Okay, listen, Dr. Pepper, we love you. But stop. You stop, okay? Because I know, Mark knows, Lindsay knows, America knows, Lindsay people know. She do the most. In all situations, whether public, private, social, she do the most. So don't be trying to say that's not a really compliment. It's the truth, okay? It may not be a compliment, but it's the truth. So if she feel triggered by it, listen. She just be triggered by anything that is not a compliment or nothing positive in regards to her. Anything that's not positive in regards to her, she gonna be triggered by it. And you know what, Lindsay, you're a grown-ass woman. Sorry, everything is not gonna be rainbows and unicorns out in these streets. Okay. Anything else Dr. Pepper done told them? Lindsay, nope, just Lindsay talking about she's done with Mark for the billionth time, and she's not sure that Mark's the right guy for her. So then it goes to commercial for dramatic effect. Comes back from commercial from dramatic effect. And Mark's just trying to let her know he don't do things to deliberately hurt her and whatnot. And we don't care. So Lindsay then be like, oh, he doesn't put her first. Dr. Pepper tells Mark to just be more understanding and compassionate and tells Lindsay, she just need to pull back on the pressure. So then Lindsay, like her caring self, be complaining and stuff because Mark don't, she be whining like what she needs from her husband and he don't be trying new things. And Mark said he do try new things, but it may just because it's not on her terms doesn't mean he's not trying. And, he has to get there by himself and baby steps and not as quick as she may want him to, just let him take his time to get to where he needs to be so he can be there to where you want him to be. Lindsay seems like she's letting it go in one ear, not the other, like I said last week. So that's nothing new. We move on to Michael. He's bringing Jasmina to where he used to live, and his neighborhood park. Michael reads the letter to himself. He gets a little emotional, but he keeps it strong. And listen, at this point, I'm not downplaying everything that Michael's been through, but at this point in time, I'm getting tired of talking about his past. You could flip it so many different ways, but at the end of the day, he's been through a lot of ish, and that is very unfortunate. But do we have to talk about this every episode? This is the 15th episode, and I feel like every episode is the same situations, the same story, just flipped in a different way with other details. I mean, we were more talking about his mother this episode, but still, like, we get it. He's been through a lot. We get it. He's lost people in his life, numerous people in his life. But at the same time, is there anything positive from his life? Anything? Jasmina, can we talk about you? Like, why does it always have to be about Michael and what he's been through? Is that all that the producers can show? Because I'm pretty sure there's plenty of other things the producers can show. But I'm just tired of talking about Michael and his trauma. I really am. But we move on to Steve. He brings Noi to his childhood home. It's a little bit more lively because at least his life was more positive, or what he talked about. Noi's feeling some type of way because she's talking about Steve had it good, and the house his parent he was born and raised in, the house is still there. His mom still lives there. I think, is his mom and dad still together? I don't think so. If they are, they both still live in the house. He talked about all the parties that they done had. Even they looked through some high school yearbooks and whatnot. Him and his friends done made like a mixtape or something. I don't know. They burned some CDs and sold it. They take a listen. The mom still knows the words, which I'm surprised about. Noi kind of liked the song. When Steve was rapping, I'm just like, Steve, you got some black friends, bro. Like, you definitely got some black friends. The way he be dancing and stuff in the after party, Steve got some black friends. He shows her the room that him and his brothers used to stay in, and the stuffed animal that he still has to this day. Noi wanna clown him in the confessional, like, oh, you still have a stuffed animal at 38? And I'm just like, you acting like he's sleeping with a stuffed animal every night, Noi. It's in his mom's house, in the room where his nieces and nephews stay whenever they're at the mom's house. On the shelf, mind you. There's nothing to, what is that to, Noi, please. There's nothing to clown. I don't know what what she was trying to do by saying that in the confessional. Okay, he has a stuffed animal from when he was a little kid, so maybe he could pass that down to y'all kids since, you want a kid in a year and a half or whatever. Like, I don't understand why it was so, like, I don't know about him still having a stuffed animal at 38. No, you still got a lot of problems at your age. I don't know how old she is. Late 20s, I don't know. But you still acting like a 5-year-old at your age, so what can we say about that? Hmm? Okay, we're going to move on. Mark brings one of his cats. I think it was called JC, I think. I don't know. to the emergency vet room. The cat, I saw that cat. I was like, oh my goodness, because the cat had like a sore on the eye, a sore on its side of its hip. It looked really bad in both places, and I'm just like, what the heck happened to the cat? So that just appeared. I don't know, but it looked really bad, and I guess the way Mark was talking, because we before we even found out what the issues with the cat, Mark was talking in the confessional and tearing up and crying, and I'm just like, the way you talking, it seemed like the cat didn't make it. And sure enough, we found out that the X-rays came back with things found in the cat's lungs, and from what the veterinarian said, it was going to spread and get worse. So the veterinarian suggested that it was probably best to say goodbye now. So they had to put the cat down, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh!" So this is just gonna be an emotional episode. That's what I just feel like, and I'm sorry, Mark, for your loss. I really am, because I'm not looking forward to that day with my little Diesel, but I'm just like, every season I feel like there's an animal that dies. One of the cast members' animals passes away. Last season with Brett, I'm not sure if there was another season, but it's just back to back, like too many traumatic and sad things be going on in these seasons. Like, this is supposed to be an inspirational love story for some people, because ever since people done saw Amani and Woody season 11, that I'm still gonna talk about till the end of life, we be looking forward to that. We're not trying to see all this sad stuff, man. This is a sad episode, in my opinion. But once again, sorry for your loss, Mark. That's very unfortunate. And hopefully the other two cats can live way longer than that. We move on to Katina. She brings Elijah on to a church because she grew up in a church. One of her close friends, Amani, who was a bridesmaid at their wedding, she met at a church. Elijah seemed like he was surprised that her friend went to church and stuff. I'm like, I know we're not judging Elijah, knowing you. I know we're not judging. But Katina talks about her upbringing, and I guess both Elijah and Katina's mom went through breast cancer. So that's unfortunate, but at least both moms are still alive and hopefully in good health. And they talk about bringing their kids to church, which is, that's good. That's cool. Elijah, you need to go to church too, and just work on yourself. But we're going to move on to Steve and Noi. They go dancing, and they go dancing because it reminds Noi of her childhood and how she always went to dance to express herself, because the way her and her siblings grew up, they couldn't really express themselves. And I'm going to assume verbally, because their parents they wasn't playing that shit. So dancing was always a way for her to express herself and express her feelings. And after they dance, they sit down, and that's exactly what she explained to Steve. So Steve said, what he said? He said, it's sad the way that she grew up. And he didn't say this word for word, and I'm about to paraphrase. But he was just pretty much saying, like, she still needs to take his feelings into consideration, just like he takes her feelings into consideration. And he tells her this, and she agrees. And I'm like, Steve, you betty that. You betty. Like, she trying to explain to you how she grew up and stuff, but he's taking that into the situation they're going through right now. So I understand that, but I'm just like, okay, Steve, this is what we're doing. Okay. I'm not mad at it. I'm not mad at it at all, but I'm just like, I read between the lines, Steve. I see what you were trying to say. He didn't say that, because what I just said, he didn't say that word for word. I'm just paraphrasing. So we move on to Dr. Pepper. She's visits Michael and Jasmina. Jasmina said that she bought. I can never talk. She bought Michael flowers. Dr. Pepper says she does the same thing for her husband. Oh yeah, Dr. Pepper. Yeah, we know you be buying flowers, because from what we're gonna find out later on, y'all don't be seeing each other every day and stuff. So of course, probably not. If you guys, but you probably buy him flowers because as a hey, I haven't seen you in like 5 days, so here, just to think of me when you look at these, I don't. All right, so they sit down to talk about what they've been going through in their marriage and whatnot, and Jasmina says she wants a lot of kids and she wants to start having kids in 18 months. And Dr. Pepper's like, okay, so have we started at least trying to practice to have kids? No, they ain't, you know the answer. They ain't had sex, they ain't do nothing yet because Jasmina's not there with the feelings. And Michael's just like, well, he's glad that his wife is his best friend. Well, he said he wants his wife to be his best friend, but not just his best friend, which Jasmina understood. And I'm just like, yeah, she may understand where you're coming from, Michael, but that don't mean it's gonna happen necessarily. That don't mean she's gonna try to be more than your best friend. The way she be acting, cause like she just be saying, the friendship is there, it's just the relationship, the feelings is not there. Well, Jasmina, you know what? Just end it at this point, because if we're not gonna try to get feelings, because I feel like you're not even trying to get there to get the feelings. You cool with being a friend. You cool with him being your friend. But it's like you're not trying to pursue further. Because if you really wanted this to work, if you really want him to be your husband, all that stuff, I feel like she would pursue it more so than she is now. I feel like she's just riding the train, riding the wave as she can. And then when it's time to hang it up, she's ready to bounce. She's ready to walk out that door. So I forgot what Dr. Pepper done said. Oh, she talked. Dr. Pepper said for them to increase their physical touch. Now, she didn't say that word for word. I'm just paraphrasing. Maybe Dr. Pepper, but Jasmina don't want to do it. If she don't want to do it, she ain't going to do it. And in this case, that means this relationship is done so on decision day. There's nothing else to say about that. We're going to move on. Noi, she reads Steve her letter she wrote to her younger self. Noi tears up. She cries and stuff. And Steve gives her a hug and shows comfort and compassion for her and tells us in a confessional that, he sees how much Noi hurts from her past and he's going to try to make sure she feels secure. Now, he didn't say this word for word. I'm just paraphrasing. You know what, Steve? Sure. If you say you're going to do it, okay, but do it because you know how Noi be. She's not going to verbalize it because, of her past. So just do it. Actions speak louder than words. Louder than words. All right. We're going to move on. Lindsay, she takes Mark to the woods. At first, I'm like, is she going to kill this man? Because, listen, I don't do woods. I've said this before. May not have been on this season. It may not have been Married at First Sight. Maybe it was in Love and Hip Hop Review. I don't know. I don't do woods at all. Whatsoever. No. I don't. No. Absolutely not. I don't do woods during the daytime. I don't do woods during the evening time. I don't do woods during the nighttime, morning. I don't do woods at all. Period. No. She walking through. He wearing regular clothes. She got boots on. Like she ready for this. She was prepared. Did you not prepare Mark for this? Listen, he was skeptical too because she went on the open way that had like Brent looked like a escape route. I don't know what it was. I'm just like, Mark, don't you go in that little tunnel thing. You might not come back out, bro. But I guess she just loves to go to the woods. She talks about her past and how she always used to run away and go to the woods because her father was never home because he was working to provide for the family. Her mom was a stay-at-home mom, and I guess she wasn't the best at being a stay-at-home mom. And it seemed like she might have grew a little resentment for being a stay-at-home mom while the dad was always out working. So it kind of created issue in the household. So that's why Lindsay just felt like it was just best to not even be in the house and just run away. And she also reads the letter to her younger self. And they walk away hand in hand. And I'm like, are we walking out of the woods or further into the woods? Because I don't know what time this took place, but if it's the afternoon, it will get dark fast in the woods because there ain't no street lights. So I hope you guys are walking out of the wood and not further into the woods. But, they seem like they made it back to civilization. It just wouldn't be me. You ain't taking me to no woods for no type of date. What? No. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But we're going to move on. Dr. Pepper, she sits down with Steve and Noi. They talk about, obviously, their marriage, what's been going on. And we bring up the whole living separately, even though they married. Dr. Pepper lets us know that she lives separately from her husband. She's like, I can't even be a hypocrite because Me and my husband don't live together. So Noy was so happy because she finally found someone. Because when she first said no, there's plenty of married couples that live separately. I said in that episode in the review, I said, who? Name one. Noy, name one. Nah, she got her one. Because I bet you if it wasn't for Dr. Pepper, she could have named not one freaking married couple that lives separately. So now, here goes Dr. Pepper wanting to let us know she lives separately from her husband. But she did let us know it's her second marriage. I think the second marriage has been going on for 16 years. The first one was for 23 years. They had kids, so of course they lived together. Which kind of also not explains, but kind of defends Steve's whole point. Like, if you want to have kids within the next year and a half, like, why are we living separately? It's not the fact that Noy wants to cherish her first studio she's ever gotten herself. I don't believe none of that crap. I said last week, I'm like, she just probably saying that because she's not sure that Steve can pay his bills. Okay? Like I said, if Steve was like, listen, we could go buy a house right now, any house you want. You know how quick Noy will probably give up her keys and sell her studio if she's not renting it? Because you mean to tell me you talking about you want to feel secure, but you want to have two separate rents and mortgages, household bills, and raise kids living in two separate households? Like I read someone said on Twitter, they was like, okay, let Noy have a brand new newborn baby for 2 days by herself in her little studio. And how quick she gonna be like, okay, Steve, we need to find a way to live in together. I agree with that person. I don't know, they're using it. I agree with that person on Twitter. That's exactly how it is. Yes. She said they still have things to figure out. But Steve don't want that, clearly. You can tell. Okay, from what he says in confessional, like he's like, how are we supposed to? Because you can't, Steve. Like right now, Nor just be talking out her ass. Okay, you know your wife better than us, Steve. Okay, she just saying all that because she's scared that you may not be able to pay your half of the bills. Okay, that's all it is. Y'all need to figure that out. We move on to Mike. He shows Lindsay his high school and his little old neighborhood and his parents' old house. He's all emotional in this whole scene. Listen, Mark is going through it. I forgot to say that when he lost his cat. Like, I'm just like, in this season, we seen Mark going through like a midlife crisis, okay? The man done lost his place of living, okay? The man done lost his job, man. The man done lost his first cat, man. Mark is just going through it, okay? His mama don't care about his marriage. His father passed. Like, Mark is just going through it this season. Like, this is supposed to be like a learning experience for him and hopefully potential forever love, but we know that's not going to happen with Lindsay's ass. But he just going through it. I feel bad for Mark. This was very emotional for him, seeing his parents, his old childhood home, and he's like, oh, it's so different. Everything is changed. Well, you know what, Mark? Listen, you're what? He's 38? Yeah. It's been a long time since you guys lived in that household. Of course, they're going to fix it up to make it look better, I suppose. But he's just, going through all the memories of living there. And, at that moment, he reads his letter to himself. To Lindsay. Reads a letter he wrote to his younger self. He's all emotional, but Lindsay's showing great support. I'll give her that. And when they were showing the flashbacks of all his pictures when he was like a kid, a toddler, and so I'm like, oh my gosh, Mark was so cute. He looks exactly the same. Like, I can tell that's Mark, but I'm just like, oh, Mark, you look so adorable. And he cries. Then talks about he wants to move back into his old home. Lindsay was like, no, we're not going to do that because she doesn't want to compete with the past. I'm like, what are you competing with though, per se? What exactly are you competing with? Because you would just, if you guys were to, you would just build new memories in that house. But at the same time, I'm just like, Mark, wasn't there bad memories? Like, I don't know. I would just want to start fresh. I want to get my own house. Okay, I wouldn't, to this day, like, if I had the money, I wouldn't even buy my childhood home. No. I'm trying to move to a better community, a better better neighborhood. Not that the neighborhood I grew up wasn't bad. It really wasn't, but no, I'm trying to move on to bigger and better things. Okay. So she says no. A lot of people on Twitter was like, Lindsay, why would Lindsay say that? Listen, I would have to nip that in the bud myself. Like, no, no, we ain't moving back. What? How old is this house? What year was it made? No, absolutely not. But anywho, we move on to finally Dr. Pepper visiting Elijah and Katina. They sit down to talk about their marriage, what they've been going through. Katina dressed like she about to go to a girls' night out right after their little sit down. And they talk about the relationship and what they want to do, having kids and their careers and whatnot. Katina admits that Elijah Wan is a lot to deal with and that he requires a lot more attention than some. But she feels like she can have it figured out. If you say so, Katina, because you said it yourself, Elijah Wan has a lot to deal with, and he's nervous about you feeling overwhelmed. You said you nervous about you feeling overwhelmed. And we see Elijah Wan getting emotional in the confessional, talking about, he wants the best for Katina and he cares a lot for her. And he said he wants to tell Katina to lock in and go for it, go for the schooling and get her career and stuff. And that he ain't going nowhere. He ain't going nowhere, but he ain't gonna tell her that. And I'm just like, why are we not telling her that? Like, why can't you tell her that? Even if it's not in front of us, why can't you tell her that privately behind closed doors? Because you don't want her to see that you really care for her and that you probably love the girl because she's dealing with your bullshit that a lot of us would not deal with. Like, I don't understand why you can't. You want her to be vulnerable with you, but you don't want to be vulnerable with her and tell her how you really feel about her. Okay, whatever, Elijah. Listen, you her man, not mine. So that's where the episode ends. Okay, next week we got them meeting up with their family members again to talk about their relationships again, and people crying all over the damn place. And I think this is gonna be the last episode next week before Decision Day. So we probably got the next episode before Decision Day. We got the Decision Day episode and the reunion. So 3 more. We got 3 more weeks together, guys. That's it. That's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and please subscribe. And I'll catch you guys next week. Bye, guys.